Hello, good day and welcome to Music Motors. You join me in what is basically the most beautiful car Peugeot are currently making. This is the 508. This is the 508 GT line. This one's powered by the very popular 1.5 litre diesel. That 1.5 litre diesel produces 129 brake horsepower, or they're calling 130 brake horsepower on this one, 300 newton meters of torque, gets you to 62 miles an hour in roughly about 10 seconds, and it's going to top out at about 130 miles an hour in this. The big thing though is this is a beautiful car from every single angle. It looks amazing inside, it looks amazing outside, and it doesn't cost loads of money, just over £32,000. So realistically, what I'm going to show you today is why you need to buy one of these, because it is fantastic. If you're looking at buying one of these, keep watching, you're going to want to buy one, and if you enjoy it, please subscribe, like, comment, do all that business that people do on YouTube, something like that. It is gig test time. It is apparently the hottest day of the year, probably so far, because I can imagine it's a little bit hotter than this. I've got double gig day, as was last week, but this time a bit of time in between, so I'm going to do a bit more karting around and see what the combined run is. Equipment so far is just guitar and pedal board in the back. No point showing me loading that in because it was quite clear it's going to fit in. Now is on to the drive to the gig, sit in traffic, and so on and so forth. This is a proper test. This is the real world test. Let's go. So I've arrived at that first part of my gig. That was 57.5 miles per gallon combined, and that wasn't me driving at 60 miles an hour. There was a bit of traffic and there was a bit of idle time. And they say on paper it should get 51 to 57. So we are basically there. It's getting up to and beyond what they say you can get, but in real world, they're not lying. This car with this 1.5 litre diesel is so frugal. Another way of putting it, it is super frugal. Starting with that beautiful exterior, beautiful, strong, striking lines, a front end that's defined, very Peugeot, but very beautiful. Side of a car which is sporty and sleek, and a back end that hasn't been ignored, a back end that's been designed with purpose and meaning, light clusters that are as beautiful as the rest of the car. Really, the outside of this car is art on wheels. It is quite clearly, to me, the best looking car that Peugeot currently make, although they have just released sports wagon, so maybe that will make it even more beautiful for me. Generally though, this is just a stunning exterior looking car. The front end defined, grills, light clusters work perfectly and extraordinarily bright at night. On the side, sometimes I find with Peugeots they're a little bit boring, like they've given up down the side for fuel efficiency, and they haven't in this. It looks sporty. Everything about the side of this car is sporty, even the alloy wheels, 18-inch diamond cut alloys. Now these ones, because they're not 19s, do take the road considerably better than the 19s. Now the 19s look amazing. Don't get me wrong, the 19s are amazing to look at, but from a ride quality and a everyday point of view, the 18s are going to be better for you, especially on fuel economy point of view. Now the back end, perfectly rounded, lovely lines completing in the back, kind of flowing in perfectly with the light clusters. Everything about this car is beautiful. I can't say it enough. Basically, I haven't found a bad angle. It looks great. The only thing which isn't beautiful is the 1.5 litre diesel, because it's a little underpowered, but I'll get more onto that later on. From an outside aesthetical point of view, this is, as far as I'm aware, award-winning. It is literally a Grammy on wheels. It is, dare I say it, sexy. Now on to the latter part of the day. Fuel economy is at about 54 miles per gallon now, having come back and putting all the equipment in the back and continuing this combined run ultimate test journey. Let's go. Surprisingly, quite a big boot, more room than really I expected for a vehicle of this size, but again, as I'm finding with PSA Group vehicles in general, Peugeot, Citroën, all that, the boot isn't very wide because of all the protective equipment they're fitting in, making sure that you in a crash are ultimately safe. As a result, can't fit wide items in, but that's about it. The result over that entire period of driving is 58.9 miles per gallon. Now, they claim that as a combined, you can get 58 miles to the gallon, best case scenario. And as I've seen, even a not perfect scenario, you can get that too. Comfortable, reliable, great visibility, great interior sound quality, enough pickup, and a good amount of interior space. You don't feel cramped. So, gig test passed. All except the fact the bass had to go on the back seats, but I can forgive that. Once you've finished ogling the outside, you're going to step inside. And when you step inside, you're going to get into this comfortable, almost sporty feeling interior that has really good build quality. Seats that hold you really well and have really nice textures and fabrics. A layout in front of you like this iCockpit. Now, on previous generations before it went digital, I wasn't the biggest fan, and now, as it's completely customizable, this position makes sense. Steering wheel is still a little bit small for my liking, but it does make more sense now. Infotainment, usable, relatively intuitive, but as I'm finding with the entire range within PSA, it at times is a little bit long-winded and has a few bugs at the moment, but those are getting ironed out. The rest of the interior, there are hardware and plastics, but to give them a more premium feel, they've given out that kind of fake stitching feel. So as a result, the interior looks premium for a car which is just over £32,000. That's unheard of. And the vocal sound system, which I believe is a £700 option, is worth every single penny. It is loud, it is clear, it is adaptive, and it makes you feel like you're at the gig. For the money, it's just a no-brainer. That's what you need to spend £700 on. Bearing in mind how cheap this car is, this has a variety of packs put on it and still only cost just over £32,000. You don't have those packs on, all of a sudden it's considerably cheaper. Now, your rear seat entertainment, there is a little bit, but your rear seat comfort, there's a lot of it. A good amount of headspace, but not obviously so much that someone 6'5" can be comfortable in the back. And your boot space is more than acceptable. Whilst I do, for my purposes, have to put the bass on the rear seat, that's only because of the intrusion that you get because of safety. Otherwise it would take it. It's an enormous boot. And the biggest thing I noticed is that on a run, on motorway, around town, whatever you're doing, it's really quiet and comfortable in here. Not Rolls-Royce quiet, but when we're like 1/10 of a Rolls-Royce price. So to even have 1/10 of the comfort, they're doing something right, and it is seriously comfortable to be in on a long journey. Around town fuel economy, something I have no idea what to expect out of this. However, knowing the type of engine, type of returns I've seen on vehicles which also have this engine in the PSA group, I have pretty high expectations, and I'll tell you what it says on paper on the other end. Until then, enjoy a bit of commuting around town and perhaps a little bit of traffic with a cool soundtrack. Would you even be surprised if I told you it got 50 miles per gallon? Now, on paper, they say it should get 51 miles per gallon in that kind of combined run. So to get what it's got is quite remarkable. I mean, let's be honest, it is a smaller engine. It's a 1.5, 130 brake-ish, 300 newton meters of torque in an 8-speed box. Around town, it shouldn't be made to do what it's done, but it's done it, which means from a business point of view, it's perfect. Performance is one of those things that it's surprisingly good. Now, hear me out, 130 brake horsepower, 129 horsepower, whatever Peugeot want to put it at, 300 newton meters of torque, 10 seconds to 62, tops out 120 miles an hour. But the really surprising thing is how this handles. Now, I really was not expecting this to handle just as well as it does. It doesn't really feel like it ever wants to understeer. It's really dynamic in steering with really good feedback. The gearbox is responsive as it is throughout the range, and because it's a little bit lighter, I guess, on the back roads, it just feels like fun. You don't have loads of power, but it means that you're having fun without breaking speed limits. And to be able to have a car which can turn around fuel economy and then give you fun on the back roads and then be comfortable on a journey, already it's telling me they're onto a big winner. If you want a bit more of an adaptive drive, there is a drive mode selector which gives you eco, normal, sport and manual. Manual for when you want just that little bit more control. Sport gives you a synthetic noise kind of dubbed over to give the impression that your car is going considerably faster, or is considerably faster than maybe it is being a 1.5, but it also adapts your steering so that you get more of an engaged drive, shall we say. Economy wise, they're pretty much putting you up at saying that you're going to get 67, 56, 46. Now 46, 47 being around town, that's roughly what you're going to get. 56, 57 combined, so if you're doing a bit of motorway and a bit of town, that's what you're going to get. And then just on motorway you're going to see up to 67. And all of those figures are actually completely attainable. This car it just sips fuel. I've driven it for a week and put quite a lot of miles on it, and I've not even used 3/4 of a tank, and it doesn't have a big tank. So realistically, for it to be able to turn that around from a fuel economy point of view is great. Now from the engine side of it, this isn't a lacking engine. It does have 300 Newton meters of torque, it is quick to respond, and it does suit the gearbox. But there is a hot version coming, and I can't wait to see what Peugeot are going to call a hot version, because then that will make it a beautiful car with performance. And then we're really on to a winner. And then really the only other thing to say is around town your visibility is good, the lock is very good around town, and town general driving is with ease. And so to summarise, a car which costs under 33,000, only just over £32,000, which is art on wheels, which is comfortable and frugal, gives good dynamics, good performance, good interior space and amazing technology. Peugeot have knocked it out of the ballpark. Let me put both hands back on. Knocked it out of the ballpark. This is a superb car. My only issues with it are the infotainment, as is throughout the group. Sometimes a little fiddly to get through, but it isn't a bad infotainment system. And the forward collision assist, even after a vehicle has moved out of the way and has, pretty much completely left being in front of you, it still kicks up a fuss. But otherwise, that's about it. This is a extremely well put and competent vehicle by Peugeot, and is the best looking one they make.